Swimming like a shark in a shrimp tank. Big fish, small pond in the shrimp tank.
Welcome to the post-show wrap-up of the Shrimp Tank, coming to you from the Business Accelerant Studio. I'm Brad Berger, along with my co-host Dan Whedon, and our guest today is Matt Augspurger with Nepsis, Inc. We just had an intriguing and fun conversation with Matt, and to listen to the entire podcast, visit shrimptankpodcast.com/Seattle, or now through iHeartRadio. You can still subscribe to our podcast on iTunes. We're always interested in your feedback, so please do not forget to rate us. So, Matt, there's been a lot of conversation and media attention to this concept of being a fiduciary. And I'm not sure most people really understand what that is, or maybe even how it's different from how it's been in the past. So you're a fiduciary.
Correct.
Can you talk a little bit about what that means?
Sure. So a fiduciary standard means that legally everything we do has to be in the client's best interest. The alternative of that would be a suitability standard, which is where as long as it's generally a good idea and fits with what the client needs, then it's okay.
Okay.
The challenge with the suitability standard is that if there's a conflict of interest, then you just have to disclose that conflict of interest, which could be like buried in, page 17 of like the 30-page document. Whereas with the fiduciary, you actually have to avoid conflicts of interest. And that's the biggest difference.
Thank you.
Well, Matt, during the podcast, we talked specifically about strategy, about how you work with your clients, and Nepsis has a name as part of that. Talk about what differentiates you in how your business model attacks that strategy.
So the thing that's going to set Nepsis apart that's going to set Nepsis apart is the fact that we love to make sure that clients know what they own and why they own it. So the biggest challenge with that is in a world today where we're ruled so much by headline risk, where on the headlines that come out or on a tweet that comes out, the stock market will go way up or the stock market will come way down. And in fact, that creates a whole lot of noise. And so people then start to panic when things go up or things go down, and they start to make irrational decisions. So what we do instead is we have an in-house money manager and an in-house research team so that we want clients to know with only individual companies, only single stocks, no mutual funds, these are exactly the companies you own, and this is why you own these companies. So now when there's volatility, that gives you opportunity to buy those stocks when they're on sale. Because when you go shopping, when there's a sale. When you buy a lot of stuff shopping, when there's great quality merchandise on sale.
Awesome. So, Matt, the other thing that I thought was just fascinating and incredibly intriguing was your value proposition. So could you share with the audience a little bit about your value proposition?
Sure. So the biggest walkaway, the biggest point in life is that we are only here for a very short amount of time. So why should your investments be only focused on this aspect of time? If you have the opportunity to change your family tree, where you can actually make a difference in not only your life as it is right now, but also generations to come, where you're leaving a legacy, where you're getting involved with nonprofits, where you're really making an actual difference, there becomes a huge impact in that. And that idea of impact investing is extraordinary. So that's the real value that we want to drive, is to get on the other side of money, where you're so confident with how your money is being managed that your biggest concern is how you can give it away and what kind of legacy you can leave instead.
Well, Matt, thank you for joining us here today. For those of our listeners who want to get in touch with you, how do they do it?
Best way is by phone or email. Email is matt@investwithclarity.com, and phone number is 360-566-2264.
Well, once again, this is just a taste of what you can expect by listening to the entire podcast. Visit shrimptankpodcast.com/Seattle or listen to us on iHeartRadio. You can also subscribe to our podcast on iTunes. We'd love to hear from you, and please do not forget to rate us. Thanks to all of our Shrimp Peeler sponsors and to you, our listeners and followers. We want to make sure that we wish you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Well, our next show from the Business Accelerant Studios will be Wednesday, January 8th, when our guest will be Kim Carrick with Scratch Distillery. We'll be starting the year with Spirit. Because, you like that? Because for right now, everybody, the year and the decade, that hay is in the barn.
I've been feeling like a shark in a shrimp tank. Big fish, small pond in the shrimp tank.